Now that you've analyzed compound complex syntax and rhetorical questions, it's time to write the fourth draft of your Thomas Paine essay. And in this draft, all of your sentences are going to be compound complex or complex. You're also going to add 3 rhetorical questions to the essay, and we're going to get to the directions for how to do that. Now, we want to first review subordinate clauses and conjunctions and relative pronouns, because what you see in front of you on the screen right now, these are the words that you can use to create those dependent clauses, which you have to have in a complex or a compound complex sentence. I've put these words into the assignment on Canvas so you can have them in front of you while you're working. They're also on your grammar review sheet #1 that I gave you last semester. Okay, so the way that this is going to work, I've been drinking lots of tea since I've been home, so my sentences are about tea and other things. But here are some examples of complex sentences. So the first one, although some teachers love coffee, comma, Dr. Warren hates it. You'll notice that my subordinate conjunction is in blue because conjunctions are going to stay highlighted blue. My dependent clause, although some teachers love coffee, that's a dependent clause. So except for the conjunction, the rest of it I'm going to highlight orange. My independent clause is that Dr. Warren hates it, and so that's staying green. The second example, when she was younger, Dr. Warren liked to attend rodeos, and that is very true. When she was younger is my dependent clause. When is going to be blue. She was younger is going to be orange. Then the independent clause is still green. And the third one, and I don't know why it's labeled #1, but Dr. Warren has a daughter who loves Harry Potter. So Dr. Warren has a daughter is my independent clause. Who is my relative pronoun? Loves Harry Potter would be the dependent clause, so it's orange. So that's one way to go about creating your sentences, is taking those compound sentences, getting rid of the coordinating conjunction, and using a subordinate conjunction instead. Or your other option is to take those compound sentences as they are already created and turn them into compound complex sentences. So you would take the compound sentence that is already written and add a dependent clause onto it. What that's going to allow you to do is create some idea development, because you're going to add information to your already existing sentences. So this may be a really great way to make that essay better as we're moving forward. So some examples of compound complex sentences with the color coding. #1, although thought to be indestructible, the Twin Towers fell on September 11th, 2001, and that forever changed the New York City skyline. So although and are conjunctions in that sentence, so they're blue. Although thought to be indestructible is our dependent clause, so it's in orange. And then our 2 independent clauses are still in green. So your green and blue, you're not really changing a whole lot. It's just really adding in more conjunctions and those dependent clauses. Our second example, the Twin Towers were destroyed by terrorists who thought they could tear the U.S. apart. But instead, this tragedy brought the U.S. people together. The Twin Towers were destroyed by terrorists is an independent clause, but would be our coordinating conjunction. This tragedy brought the U.S. people together would be our second independent clause. Who thought they could tear the U.S. apart would be our dependent clause. So that's what that's going to look like. Now, these directions are in Canvas, but I'll go over them with you as well. So you're going to open up a new draft in Google Drive. You're going to copy and paste your compound sentence draft into the new Google Drive document. And you're going to name it 2019 hyphen your class, whether that's B2, B4, or A4, hyphen your last name, your first name, and then hyphen Paine complex draft. And so for this next exercise, you're going to rewrite your draft with only complex and compound complex sentences. So every sentence should have at least one independent clause and at least one dependent clause, and this will be the fourth draft of your essay. So continuing with that, and these directions again are on Canvas, but you're going to go ahead and keep every independent clause green with your highlighting. Every conjunction, whether it's coordinating or subordinating, and relative pronoun, those will be blue. The dependent clauses are orange. And at the very end of the essay, in your conclusion, you're going to write 3 consecutive rhetorical questions that emphasize your point. Because rhetorical questions seem to always work better in a conclusion when you leave your audience something to think about. So those are the directions. Again, those directions are in Canvas. Let me know as you're working if you have any questions. When you finish this essay, upload this draft as a link into Canvas, and as soon as it's there, it's my indication that it's time to grade it, and I will give you feedback.